Hi, this is Kylie Koo with my 5th video for the CAC hashtag event Trash to Treasure. Today I'm making a journal from cereal boxes. Now I know there's lots of people do this, so all I'm doing is showing you the way that I do it. So I gather boxes, cardboard boxes, cereal boxes, other types of boxes, really whenever I can. So all I've done here is to take a box or several boxes, opened them up, taken off the loose pieces of paper, and then I've gone over them with several layers of gesso. Now I simply start with gesso because I have a big tub of it. Once I've got a couple of layers of that down, I then start to put down layers of paint. So making pattern on top of paint and then using my other recycled items to stamp with, and really just creating some fun patterns. So I then want to make the journal cover, and I open out another cereal box, and I could just fold in the tabs to strengthen it, but because of the size I want to make it, I cut all of those off. I will however keep them because they'll be handy for making other tags. I then measure the cereal box to the size that I want my journal to be. Now in this instance, because I've used various different makes of cereal boxes, they do vary slightly in size, and therefore I've taken the smallest and worked out the size that I want the cover to be. So just measuring that out, and then when I cut around it, I could either use those pieces to strengthen the box, or in this instance all I'll do is put those to the side, and again I can use those to make other tags. I then like to sand down the side of the printing especially, but I usually do both sides. If you do have any sort of asthma or respiratory condition, just be careful at this stage because it's really quite amazing the amount of dust that can come up off it. So I then wipe that down with a damp cloth. Now I'm taking some packaging paper. It's not very strong paper this, but it's fit for purpose. And what I'm going to do is just cut around it with about ½ an inch bigger than the actual cardboard cover that I'm making. I then put glue on the printed side of the box and spread all of that out, and then I'll go on to put glue on the packaging paper. Now in this case I was using school glue. It's a type of PVA glue, but I wasn't particularly impressed with this because it did take a very long time to dry, although I have used ordinary PVA glue from the same company and it's fine, but for some reason this one just took a long time to dry. So I've put the paper down and I've just crinkled it a little bit just to give it a bit of a textured effect. I'm now going round the edges of that because what I'll do is to pull that over onto the cereal box to help strengthen the cover. And I'm just snipping where I want to make the folds. There's lots of different ways to do that. This is just the way that I do it. And I have to say I don't always do it the same way every time. Now you can see pieces here where the paper's got a bit thin, but you know, I'll work with that. So once I had painted one side of the other cereal boxes, I'd left them, I think, overnight to dry because they can take quite a while to dry out. And now I'm just doing the other sides of them. So really just having some fun, putting down all manner of paint, just spreading it out, and you know, really just enjoying myself, not thinking too much about it. I'm sure some people prefer to create something that's much more coordinated, and that's fine too. I just like to really play and just see what comes out of it. And again, using my recycled household items just to do a bit of stamping. These items really do serve me well. At this point I'll often just use black and white because I think it's really amazing how much it helps the other, or they help the other colours pop. So here I have my cover again. What I'm going to do now is to put on another layer of glue. This will help seal it, but I also mix in some paint with that. And if you saw the Eco video that I made and put up yesterday, you'll see that I use a similar process there. So I just mix the glue and the paint together on the page, on the cover. And I like, with the paintbrush, just to create a bit of texture. And I've set that aside to dry. I've now gone back to some of my other printed boxes. I've cut off the edges and I'll use some of those for tags. And these are the pages that I now have that will form the pages and signatures for my journal. So I've rounded the corners of those and inked them up, just because I like the way that looks. And I've started to take some smaller pieces of the edge pieces, some I've cut out into circles, cut others into lots of different shapes, and again I've just rounded the corners and inked them up, really just to get the white grey colour of the cardboard off the sides. So I've got my outside cover now, and I've decided I needed to strengthen it a bit. So I've taken one of the cereal boxes, I've cut two pieces for the outside edge and a piece for that kind of central middle piece. Here I've taken my pages, I've folded them into two, I've used a bone folder to get a nice sharp edge, and I'm making up 3 signatures, each with 2 pages. So I've glued those down to the cover. I've also gone over the cover with some ink just to give it a kind of distressed effect, and I've gone round the edge with some black paint. What I'm now going to do is to bind my pages and my signatures into my cover, and I'm measuring a central spot and then 2 points, 1 point either side of that central point, and just doing the basic binding method with this that I've used in other videos. So I then also line those up with the outside cover, and you can see that I've put 3 holes horizontally and 3 vertically, and that will take the 3 signatures. Now I have just used a pokey tool, or the awl, depending on what you want to call it, to make the holes. I'm also now just taking the needle just to make the holes a little bit bigger, because I'll use thread, in this case I'm going to use embroidery thread, just to bind in the signatures. And I'm measuring round about 3 lengths per signature. Normally I would bind from the middle hole on the inside, but for this particular journal I'm going to bind it from the outside and from the top, and that's because I want to leave a long tail, because I might go back at some point and actually put some sort of decoration on the outside. So I'm going from the top outside through, and then back out through the middle hole, and then down to the bottom hole, and from here I'll go back to the middle, back out, and then I'll tie the thread, so the thread from the top hole and that coming out the middle again. and I'm just pulling them tight to make sure that they're fully taut. Now sometimes at this point I would cut the threads off, but I'm just going to leave them because, as I say, I might go back at some point and actually decorate them. So there I have the 3 signatures bound in there, and I'm now going to look to put in my various pieces of decoration. So here I have it. I've used a slightly different glue, tacky glue this time, although I've literally just glued it down, so some things are not fully adhered as yet. So you can see the various tags that I've made and put in that pocket at the front. I've also made various tabs. I've decorated other tabs with buttons. I've ran some old binding material through them. Lots of pockets. There's one that I'm just going to use as a bookmark. Certainly got plenty. A secret pocket there. That was supposed to be a binding that went across. I had to go back and re-glue that. Another band there for some tabs to stick into, and a back pocket. That tab I've created like a button, where I've just put 2 holes in it and then tied some embroidery thread through it. So these pages, I don't know what I'll do with this journal, but it's the sort of thing that you can just take out some pens and just work on it. Again, I've just got a black and white pen here, and I can envisage having hours of fun with this. You know, I could use it as a smash book, I could use it as an art journal, or I could literally just sit and doodle. Take it out for 5 minutes, for half an hour, for an hour, whatever, and just play about with it. I can take tabs out, I can add bits to those, and really just have a lot of fun with this. These really are, I think these are really fun journals to make and then just to play with. And if you haven't made this sort of thing before, you know, give it a go. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice kind of weekend project. And of course those little tabs you could use as journal spots, or really for whatever purpose you want them. So that's it, all from recycled materials. Cereal boxes, embroidery thread that I had, some old raffia, and indeed some packaging tape, some packaging paper. Amazing what you can do with it. So thanks very much for watching this. Check out the other artists that have contributed to the hashtag event. That's hashtag Trash to Treasure. And if you do make one of these journals, then let me know how you got on with it. And please check out my other eco projects. Thanks very much for watching.